Welcome everyone to People on Dating. I'm your host, Will Mraz, and for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this podcast is about the ups and downs of dating and how to navigate through it. Today, my guest is Kasia, right? Did I get it right? Look, I just practiced like 2 seconds ago
Kasia.
with you.
Kasia.
Kasia Dodd. She's a European licensed psychologist, therapist, and author known for developing the inner parent theory, a powerful missing piece in the framework surrounding the inner child. She's pioneered emotional freedom techniques in Poland and created the Inherence Process, a method for restoring connection with the deep self. Born and raised in Krakow, Poland. Did I get that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
She spent 22 years in the United States before relocating to the Indian Ocean coast of Africa. Her newest book, The Chameleon's Game, exploring the psychological traps of covert narcissism and shows the way back to self-trust and personal clarity. Kasia, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me so I
No,
can
it's my
share a little
pleasure.
bit.
Yeah, no, and today's a good topic, the covert narcissist. That word's been thrown around all over. When I
Yes.
look at other podcasters, excuse me, or reading, that word is always
Yes.
thrown around. So before we start, tell us a little bit about yourself. What was your journey like, to become a European licensed psychologist, a therapist, an author? What was that journey like for you?
Yes. It was kind of straightforward
Excuse me.
since I was a child. When I was a little kid, my biggest dream was to be a doctor
Mhm.
and help people and help them to heal. And then it evolved when I was growing up and exploring the world and seeing
Mhm.
the world more. Uh, it turned out it was not being a doctor because the inner world interested me more
Mhm.
than the body itself. So first I went to psychology school, got my MA degree in Poland, and then totally kind of by accident, I got another MA degree in theology in Chicago. So
Mhm.
I didn't mean it, but that's how it came out. And and then I started working with emotional freedom techniques.
Mhm.
This is the tapping. I don't know if you're familiar with the
I
tapping
heard that.
technique.
Yes, yes, I
Yes.
heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I found this method and it really uh, I liked it so much. I started practicing not first on myself, then with clients. After I finished my school, I started working as a therapist, and then day by day, getting more and more experience and understanding how the inner world of people in general works. I developed my own kind of understanding of how it looks and
Yeah.
how it works. And then I wrote the first book, You Are the Dream of the Universe. It talks about the inner child and inner parent with the stress put on inner parent because we don't talk about the inner parent structure. It's all about the inner child. But I think the inner parent is the problem, not the inner child.
Okay.
And then in between, I got into this relationship with a man. At the beginning, it was really good, but then it was not. And after over 10 years of this relationship, I wrote the second book about the covert narcissism, which is the chameleon's game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and this is a good topic, the covert narcissist, because I've seen that phrase being that word being thrown around. And it's funny because today I was looking at a podcast and a woman said that, oh, I was going with this guy and he was toxic and he was a narcissist. And so one of the hosts said, did you come up with that or did he see a doctor? And she says, no, I just felt that he was. So
Mm,
it seems like a lot of, depending on the woman, they're throwing out that
yeah,
word now. And
yeah.
listen, I have friends that were calling each other narcissists. So
Hmm.
what is the meaning of a narcissist? And then the second part, is that something that is diagnosed? So let's go with the part one. What is it? And then part two, is it something that's diagnosed?
Yes, yes. I mean, as you said, the word now is being thrown all around, and somebody's a little bit selfish, maybe, or
Yeah.
egoistic, and we call them narcissists, which and it's not. It's just a sometimes people have a narcissistic behaviors, but it's
Hmm.
not a narcissism. The narcissism is the very serious personality disorder.
Mm.
It has many symptoms, and only when you display all those symptoms, you can say the person has a serious personality disorder. But sometimes people see one egoistic behavior and they call somebody narcissist, and that's the big mistake. So when somebody is focused on themselves, it's not necessarily a narcissist,
Right.
because narcissist is somebody who demands attention of others all the time. So not only the person is focused on him or herself, but they demand others to focus on themselves all the time, on him or her all the time. So
What are some examples of that they want to focus on themselves? So what would be like an example of that type of person?
mhm.
Excuse me.
It's always all about them.
Hmm.
So even if you try to have a conversation about something neutral or um, something that it's not connected to you or the other person, they somehow would turn it, twist it all the time that it's eventually about them. And a simple example, um, let's say you say to somebody, "Oh my gosh, I really feel bad today. I have a headache and so basically, you're talking about yourself, right? That
Right.
you're not feeling good. Oh, I have a headache. I don't feel good. So the narcissist will probably say, "Well, it's not my fault, right?"
Ah, okay.
Or it's they just turn everything, all the lights on them all the time,
Right.
or it's not because of me, or or or, for example, you can say, you know, um, I would like to spend some time alone today. Maybe I will go for a walk alone. And so the normal person would say, "Oh yeah, yeah, have a good time and I'll see you later," right?
Right.
And the narcissist will say, "Well, oh yeah, you just don't want to spend time with me."
Mm.
So it's
I see what
always
you're
about
saying. Yeah.
them. Yes.
So is that something that is diagnosed then? Like how would that be diagnosed? Like you say, it's a personality disorder and all that. Like
Mm-hmm.
so, what would be some symptoms that we could look for?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse
Yes,
me.
so the symptoms are the first one that I just mentioned, and then
Yeah.
they they absolutely cannot process any criticism. So if you say even something tiny critical about them, they will, burst in anger or being very defensive.
Hmm.
They don't have empathy.
I
So they
always heard
cannot,
that part. They don't
yeah.
have empathy. Yeah.
Yeah, so they cannot actually feel your, if you feel bad, they cannot feel bad for you. They will probably feel uncomfortable with it and try to kind of dismiss it or spin it around somehow.
Yeah.
Um, yes, they can't accept rejection because deep down in the core of this disorder is that they hate themselves. So they internally, unconsciously reject themselves all the time and they don't
Right.
realize it. But then on the outside, when somebody will say something that even remotely looks like rejection, they will go crazy. They will destroy you. They will,
Hmm.
uh, yeah, they will be so defensive and they cannot process it.
Right. So in a relationship, right? You dating someone,
Hmm.
does that tendency to be a narcissist, does that come out early in the relationship or is that later or yes, go ahead. I can see you shaking your
Yeah.
head. So go ahead.
Yes, there are first symptoms. Yes, because um, this is very serious personality disorder. So person has it all the time. It's not like it comes and goes. It's all the
Okay.
time. So there are first symptoms when you start dating a person like that. The very characteristic thing is that so-called love bombing.
Yeah,
So
I've been hearing that. That's another term I've been hearing.
yeah.
Bombing. Yeah.
Yes. So that's why I call the book the chameleons game because they are like
Yeah.
chameleons. They will mirror you so perfectly that you really think like you met your other half.
Right.
That the
Ah,
person reflects perfectly your deepest values, what's
yeah.
most important to you. They will say yes, they understand, they also think this way, they also value the same things, but it's all a lie, to get your sympathy, to get your to get you hooked on the because when you meet your other half and it really feels like your other half, like literally,
Yeah.
then you think, oh my gosh, that's it, and you're hooked. Oh my gosh, that's a perfect ideal match. But it's all a performance, they match you so perfectly, they like put a mirror, so you're almost looking at it yourself. And then after you're hooked, after some time, it could be a month or a year. In my case, it was a year.
Yeah.
Then everything turns 180 degrees, and suddenly you see totally a different person, completely
Yeah.
different person.
Yeah, and I've heard that because I remember I had a friend of mine, excuse me, and she was telling me that she met this guy, and just pretty much the first couple of weeks was just nothing about love bombing. Hey, we're gonna get a
Yes,
place together. You're gonna be the
yes,
last woman I see.
yes,
All that stuff that she was telling me, and I'm like, wow. And then she said within a few months or something like that, it just changed.
yes,
He
yes,
says, no, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. Whatever.
exactly.
Everything just changed. And so again, I'm seeing I'm seeing other, like I said, other podcasts where that word gets thrown around a lot. And I think a lot of people don't know the meaning of it. So you kind of broke it down, right? What to look for, especially the love bombing. I think that's
Hmm.
very important. So how do can we defend ourselves with a person like that? Like, I mean, do we have to, we got to have, I guess, an open mind or to at least be self-aware of the love bombing at the
Hmm.
beginning and say, hey, wait a minute, this is kind of soon. I just met this person. All of a sudden they like in love and everything I like to do, they like to do. So should we look for signs like that right away?
Yes, well, first of all, education, right? So you
Yeah.
have to you have to know and educate yourself about this because it at the beginning it feels really, really good and real.
Yeah.
So that's very deceiving because you meet this person and the first feeling you have, it's like you've known this person for ages.
Mm,
You want to live with this person the next day.
right.
It's so deep.
Excuse me.
It's so deep, and you feel like you found home.
Right.
Those are deep feelings, and usually people trust what they feel. So that's very tricky uh, to actually stop yourself from feeling those deep euphoric feelings, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
So,
agree. Because once you get involved with someone and you
mhm.
like them, you just can't see anything wrong with them. I mean, listen, I've
Yes,
been there. So, yeah. So, okay. So we got to
yes,
look out for some subtle signs and things
yes.
like that. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yes, and also the saying that it looks too good to be true sometimes really
It
is
is. Yeah.
it's really real here because the real love, it develops over time when you really know the person
Hmm.
better and better and you develop feelings for the person. But if something feels like so-called love from the first sight, many times it's just a trauma bond,
Mm.
serious, deep trauma bond, and it feels very, very strong, like
Can
you
you
found
explain
something.
more of trauma
Yes,
bond? Because that's pretty
yes,
interesting. Again, that's
yeah,
another term I've been hearing. So please.
yeah, yes. So trauma bond is something that you feel deeply, deeply, and it's very familiar.
Hmm.
And for the primitive brain, whatever is familiar, it means it's good and safe. And it's not, because sometimes deep, deep, deep in our subconscious, we have trauma that it's not good, but it's familiar.
Mm.
So you meet somebody and his trauma and her trauma meet and it feels like home, but it's
Ah.
actually trauma bond. It's not the love, the real,
Yeah.
love, but it feels strong. So people make a mistake between what feels real and what feels traumatic and
Yeah.
yeah. So the trauma bond is usually it forms a long time ago, usually in childhood, when brain how you say it, uh, the the good feelings and the bad feelings,
Yeah,
meaning somebody's rejected, somebody's accepted, somebody's rejected, somebody's accepted in childhood,
yeah,
a child. And so somehow it gets mistaken that uh, whatever you went through and it was negative and traumatic and kind of painful,
yeah.
it's associated with love,
Mm,
associated with acceptance somehow. So then you meet a person like this and it feels very familiar. So on one hand, you feel accepted because you hear all those positive, good things about yourself when, in the love bombing phase. But underneath, there's this other familiarity, that there's this kind of, I don't know how to say it,
yeah.
rejection that is familiar, but you're not realizing it.
Okay. So, wow, this is such a deep and touchy subject because
Hmm.
of like I said, now the trauma bonding because you relating to someone that could be the same as you, or there's also love bombing in the way that gets
Hmm.
there, because when I'm around certain people and sometimes I don't see the signs, and I think I was with someone that was a narcissist because there was no empathy.
Hmm.
There was like she was emotionally detached.
Hmm.
Now I'm not a doctor, so but this is obviously learning from this over the last year or so. I started realizing I'm like maybe I was dating a narcissist,
Mm.
because everything was about them. I went here, I went there, I was part of this. Everything was always about them.
Yeah.
And after a while, I never even talk about myself anymore. But at that time, I didn't know. I might have heard the word narcissist 5, 6 years ago, but not like it is now.
Yeah.
So, what what surprises me is just again like the word being thrown around a lot, but to trauma bonding, that's
Hmm.
another phrase I've been hearing because of just
Yeah.
what people go through in their childhood and they carry it with them to adulthood. Um, does the person know they're narcissists? In other words, is that hard to detect on themselves? In other words, can they be self-aware of this? Or someone
Well,
has to bring it up to them, or yeah, how does that person, know that, hey, maybe I there's something off about me?
well,
Does that make sense?
yes, it does. It
Kasha?
does.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, I think that most people who have this personality disorder, they don't know it, and if
Mhm.
somebody tries to tell them that, they will absolutely reject it in a way like they will scream and kick because they cannot process shame, so they cannot be
Mhm.
responsible for themselves. They cannot process guilt. So and so this would be a like really huge criticism. They cannot process criticism. They cannot process anything that it's not perfect about them, not
Mm.
ideal about them. So if I tell somebody, hey, you are a narcissist, they will go absolutely crazy. No, it's
Right.
not true. They will try to turn it around and make you guilty and crazy. So usually they don't. However, I heard about I heard about cases where somebody was super intelligent and they knew they had this disorder and even they went for therapy,
Right.
but they used the therapy not to heal themselves, but to understand themselves better so they can be more manipulative.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So it's so deep and so bad. They
Yeah.
decided to craft the manipulation to the point of perfection,
Right.
so they could be really not recognized. Yeah.
My God, I just want to, for people out there that maybe
Hmm.
has dated or are dating someone currently, just to look out for signs, right? I mean,
Hmm.
the criticism that you can't give them, everything comes back to them. Oh, you don't want to be with me, so you want to take a walk by yourself. So that's the thing. We have to see that and be aware
Yes.
and all that. Anything else, Kasia, that we should look out for? I mean, those to me, those are the obvious signs once you become aware and just pay attention, right? I think that's always the key is just pay attention
Hmm.
and see what they do, not what they say. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. Also, usually, when people listen to themselves, they will they will feel a little discomfort, inside deep in the body when they meet person like this.
Yeah,
Yeah, there will be like a little voice that something is off, something is not right.
right.
Usually, I had that. I totally ignored it because the
Yeah.
euphoria of meeting your other half was so strong that I just didn't believe. No, I'm just making it up. Yeah.
I went through the same thing. So,
Hmm.
like I said, there was some signs,
Yeah.
now that you talked about it and, some of the things I've been hearing from other people and even reading
Hmm.
about it in articles, I started seeing, I'm like, oh my God, everything, went back to her. And I
Hmm.
was great in here. I was doing this and blah, blah, and everything was always coming back to them.
Right.
First, Gasha,
Right.
thank you so much for being on People on Dating. I could
Thank
probably
you.
talk to you for another hour. This is an amazing topic. Talk more about your book, The Chameleon's Game.
Yes, so it just came out, and actually, it's like a part of a memoir because I'm
Okay.
describing my own story and how I experienced this relationship, and also because I am a psychologist, and
Okay.
that's also funny thing. A
Yeah.
psychologist had a
Yeah.
relationship with a covert narcissist, right?
Yeah.
Haha. Well, but that happens,
Yeah, of
because
course.
even the knowledge sometimes cannot protect you, if you really don't look for the signs. And so, yeah, so I share not only my own story, but explain things from a psychological point of view so people can really educate themselves. And then I go even deeper and farther. In the second half of the book, I'm writing from this kind of even spiritual perspective and generational trauma perspective.
Okay.
So it's not only about the narcissism and the symptoms, but a little bit broader.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
that sounds good. I'll definitely put that on the show notes. And if anybody wanted to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
The best way is my website, katarzyna.com, and
Yeah.
there's a contact form there. And if somebody would like to uh, have a session or ask something, yes, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I'll definitely put that on the show notes.
Hmm.
And Katz, before I let you go, one last word. What
Yes,
anything you want to get out before the show ends? Anything you want
yes,
to recommend or give advice?
yes. I would like to give advice on one thing because that's the thing that saved me from going crazy and internally broke in this relationship is that the most important relationship in our lives is the relationship with the deep self.
Mm,
That's that's the base and key to everything. When we develop good relationship with ourselves, we have strong self-esteem and we know each other, we know ourselves inside, and we feel confident and we're not ashamed of ourselves or don't try to hide. We're just confident in our own bodies. This will protect us from everything, and because all other relationships we have in life, in my opinion, and probably not only mine, are reflections of the deep
mm,
relationship with ourselves we have. And because we don't know this relationship with ourselves well, we use the external world to mirror some part of us back to us. And then how we learn how to, we learn how to relate to ourselves deeply inside. Yeah,
right.
so that's the number one. I just recommend and encourage everybody to uh, really develop a good, loving relationship with the deep, deep self.
Yeah, no, that's definitely important. Well, again, Katya, thank you so much for being on People on
Thank you so
Dating. I
much.
really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
My pleasure. Bye bye.